Good evening, guys. Today's session will be on JSON, JSON files in Python. So, what is a JSON file? So, JSON. So, what is JSON? JavaScript. Sorry, JavaScript orient or sorry, object notation. So, JSON is abbreviated as, which stands for JavaScript object notation, and it is a most popular data format for online data exchange. It is the most popular format for online data exchange. So if you want to, let's say there is a communication between server and client. For an example, if you want to enable the communication through some data exchange, JSON file format is the one of the best and most popular format, so that you can do the data exchange between server. Yes, yes. Those topics will be covered after once you get the idea of JSON. Okay. Mm. And JSON is the best format for organizing data between a client and a server, as I told you. Generally, the programming language JavaScript is more comparable to this language syntax. As the name itself says, it's a JavaScript object notation. So, in general, JSON's primary, one second, guys. I think somebody. Okay, as I told you, uh, JSON's primary goal is to for data transmission between client and the web server. So it is the most efficient method of exchanging data, and not only this, even it is very simple to the master when you are requesting the information exchange from the server. It works with most of the programming languages. Example, mm, programming languages which will includes. So this will be supported with by Python, and we have Perl and Java. There are so many. Okay, so these are the programming language which are supported by the Java. So most of the programming languages, they do support JSON file format. So JSON has, and this JSON primarily supports 6 forms of data. So it supports 6 forms of data. First one, string. Second one, number. And the third one, boolean. And the fourth one, null. Fifth one, object. And the last one is array. So these are the 6 forms of data which will be supported by the JSON files. Okay, uh, there are two conditions actually. Conditions to maintain, or you can say structure condition. So structure condition is, no, JSON is the data format. Okay, so this data is in JSON. Data is kept in name and value, name and value pair format. So this JSON will have very similar to dictionaries. Okay, in JSON, the data is kept in the form of name and value. Okay, very similar to dictionaries. And not only this, we have, for an example, if you want me to give some examples, as I told you, dictionaries, and we have hash tables, and what we have keyed list. We have a list which is having key list. It is also one type of data type, and not only records, we have records and object. These are the few examples for this JSON type file format, which will have key and value. And the second one is an array vector. So you'll have array and vector. So these things will have, these are very totally, or not only this, you will have lists, or you can say sequential. Sequentials is all about considered equivalent to the ordered list of values. So this is how the JSON structures looks like. For an example, let me show you the actual how the JSON file looks like. So rather than writing this whole thing, I want you to show you. So this is the one basic example. Let's not take that, that's too much actually. Let me take one simple JSON file. This is not the simple one. So second. So as I told you, JSON example. So first you'll have this is, let me remove this. It will starts with a flower brace, and this will have, this is one element, this is the second element, this is the third element, and here the, this whole thing will be considered as a JSON file format, which will starts and ends with. Yes, Aitya, do you have any doubt? Okay, fine. See, as I told you, this is the JSON file format which will have the key and value, name and value. Here, you can say key and value. So this, for the string, you'll have the double quotes. For the integer values, as I told you, see here, it supports 6 formats, right? So string, it is a string, yes, supported. Number, yes, supported. Boolean, I'll show you that also. Okay. For null, I'll have nothing. See, let's say I'll have one car. Oh, sorry, car we have. Right? Yeah, color. So color is the key, and the value will be, let's say, I'm gonna have, yeah, true. I'm gonna have true. Yes. Here, true or false. It is a Boolean type, and null already we have. Object we can create later. Array is nothing but collection. So this is the one element. Okay, let me say comma. I'll have one more element here, paste, which means, so I need to kept it in one list, right? So for this, I'll take this one as the list. See here. So it is a list. If you want me to, how many elements are there in this list? Anyone tell me? The whole thing is a list, right? Oh, let me show you. We have only 2 elements. Only 2. See, this is one element. See, the whole thing is one element. See, I'll show you how do we distinguish between one element to the another. See, yes, yes, exactly. So a list, yes, exactly. If you have square braces, that will be known as what in general? Mm, no, list. Exactly. In this list, if it is separated by a comma, then that will be known as element, right? Yes. The whole thing is in a one block, and the second one is also in one block, which means this one is one element, this one is another element in the list, right? As of now, clear? Mm. In a single element, this element is in the form of dictionary. Okay, so how you have to distinguish now? Dictionary in a list, which means it is known as the list dictionary. Okay, the dictionary will be present inside of the list. Okay, this whole thing is a list. Under this list, we have two dictionaries. This one dictionary, this one is another dictionary. How do I know that this is going to, how do I justify this as dictionary? Because it has the key and value pair, which is separated by comma, right? So, guys, from now on, the classes are going to be bit difficult. It's not like dictionary in the sense we are going to use the dictionary as it is. If it is a list, we are going to use that list as it is. We will we will build the code combinedly. So, the codes will be a little bit difficult to understand, but have patience. Please try to understand the concept. Okay. See, the dictionary will have the dictionary will start and ends with flower braces. See here, see here. This dictionary has the first dictionary has how many elements? Three, four. Exactly. So the second one is also having same. Exactly. So now you got the point, right? So this is how the JSON file looks like. Yeah, to so a dictionary, sorry, a JSON file can be a combination of these six data types. Okay, it is a combination. Okay, so to easily understand the data in online format, we mostly go for the JSON files. Okay, so how do we utilize this JSON file while information is exchanged between the client and server? So JSON is just a module that that will be offered by the Python, and this Python supports the marshal and pickle modules. There are two modules. One is marshal and pickle modules from the standard library, and JSON API functions similarly to these libraries. So before Python natively supports JSON characteristics, but the process of serializing this JSON data is known as encoding. Okay, so data is transformed. Yeah, so JSON file is the combination of list, dictionaries, and tuples and arrays, everything. If you combine all these data types, then only a JSON file is going to form. Okay. Mm. Now the process of serializing JSON data is known as encoding. What is encoding? I'll give you the definition. What is encoding? The process of serializing serializing JSON data is known as encoding. Okay, encoding is nothing but the process of serializing the data, which means arranging the data in a particular format of that JSON data is known as encoding. Data is transformed into a series of bytes and delivered across the network using the serialization technique. So for this, let me give you one simple how do we syntax. First, we need to import the JSON. For this, we'll go for keyword import JSON. Then after that, let's say I want to print some anything. What are all the available directories in JSON? So this is just a syntax, guys. How do we access JSON? In the sense, we'll use the import keyword with JSON. For this, I'll give you one example. Okay, as I told you, import JSON. So I want to print all the directories which are present in the JSON. Just you need to give dir and JSON. That's it. If you run this now, it will give you all the directories which are present in the JSON module. And here JSON is the module. We are gonna import the modules. Okay. Mm. So here, so there are two things. Just give me 1 second, guys. 1 second, hold. 1 second, guys. I got a call from. I need to pick up this call. 1 second. Hello. Good evening, Vignesh. Yeah, tell me. Yes, I have Vignesh. Sure, Vignesh. I'll do that. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Hello. Hi, Sanjay. Sorry to disturb you. Vignesh told me to call you once, and he told me to inform you that you can you just ping Vignesh? Do you have his number? No problem. You call him through Teams, okay? Okay, just ping him. Huh? After the once call is done, just ping me once that you had conversation. Huh? Okay, bye, Sanjay. Okay, sorry for that, guys. Okay, where were we? Acha. So here, why do we have duplication here? Huh? So this is duplication is nothing but we have two things: load and loads, and dump and dumps. So I'll tell you how this works. So here we have four techniques which can be used to serialize the data, which means Serializing nothing but arranging in a proper manner. Okay, proper way. Okay. Uh, so technique, serializing techniques. We have four. First one, dump. Sorry, load. Second one, third one, dump, dumps. These are the four techniques which are used to serialize the data. Serializing nothing but arranging like this. Okay, converting the data into some good looking and easily understandable format, from clumsy data to some readable good format. To do this, we are going to follow four serializing techniques: load, loads, dump, and dumps. So, uh, in a serializing process, which is used to translate Python objects to JSON, is known as serialization. So, converting data from Python objects to JSON. Python objects to JSON is known as serializing. Okay. So here I'll give you a few examples how the JSON file, when a computer needs to process a lot of data, it is a good idea to store the data in a file. Using JSON function, we can store JSON data into a file. So here generally the data which is in the JSON, we're gonna save that in a file, and that file gonna be called as .json. That's it. Some file name .json. This is the syntax and extension. Whatever the name you're gonna give with, you need to have .json extension. It is to store the data. What kind of data? This kind of data. It is a combination of string, number, boolean, null, object, array, and all those things. Okay. So you're gonna store the data. Which data? This data. This data is going to store somewhere. Okay. We cannot keep this data into the console. If you, yeah, tell me, Neha. Mm, It's not the code. It's just a syntax. This syntax will be, we're gonna store this whole data into this file. I'll show you that. So nothing. You're gonna do what? Let's say I have copied this. I'm gonna create one file here. Here in batch 5, new file. Uh, it's just a file, and let's say example JSON .json. That's it. See here. It is a JSON file. See here. You see this? All the key values are stored in. If I close this, if I open this now, so that will be present in the JSON only. Okay. Any doubts? Yeah. Okay. And the thing is, this is how the JSON file looks like, which I have shown you here. See, even the you can see the icon here, right? It is changed. It is having a starting and a ending of flower braces, right? So that's how the JSON file looks like. Okay, for easily understanding the data. And so here the dump and dumps methods are available in JSON module and are used to modify Python objects. And these dump and dumps are used to modify the uh, data format of the which is available in the JSON. Okay, dump, load, loads, dump, dumps are the techniques which are used to serialize the data. Okay, got it? Fine. So here there are few JSON items which are created from Python objects. I'll list out you those things. Okay, how the uh, objects are differ between Python objects to JSON objects, how they are reflect. Okay, first one. First we'll take serial number here, and then serial number. Then in Python objects, it's a uh, table, guys. Okay, in JSON. Okay, so first one, how the Python in Python objects, how it will come. First one, dictionaries. This is how the dict looks like in Python object in Python. But in JSON, we'll call this as object. Okay. Second one, list, tuples. But in JSON, array. We call them as arrays. We don't have list and tuple. We have, but we call them as arrays. Okay. Next one, we have str, that is string. But in JSON, we're gonna have string. That's how the objects are going to create in different languages. In Python we're going to have dict, but in JSON we have object. List and tuples are to be referred in Python object, but in what it comes to JSON we're going to call them as arrays. In Python objects, in Python we're going to have str, but when it comes to JSON they totally have the keyword string. Next, int float. We have int float, right, in Python, but in JSON we call them as number. Okay. Next is what we have, true, capital T, but in JSON we're gonna have small t, small true. Okay. And the sixth one, we're gonna have false. We're gonna denote this as just normal small letters, false. And the seventh one, the last one, is none. In Python we're gonna use the keyword none, but in JSON we're gonna use null. Okay, these are the few differences between how the JSON will reflect the data from, means serialize the data from Python object to means Python programming language to JSON format. These are the few things you need to make a note of. So what is this dump do? Okay, a dump function is available in Python to communicate, which means encode the data into JSON format. Encode the data into JSON format. That's it, guys. The dump method is gonna use for encode the data into JSON format. So it will take two arguments. Okay, it will take two arguments. The data object that needs to be serialized and the file-like object that needs to be receive the bytes. I'll show you with this with one example. So here, okay, yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I got this. Okay, is it in a JSON format, right? It is in a JSON format. Okay, so here it says, okay, first one you have taken this key value, okay, key and value, key and value, key and value, and what you have taken here. So you have created a separate string under this. Okay. Okay, fine. So this one is done. Okay, this whole thing is known as consider as one uh, value to this key value sorry uh, value to this key, and then which means that needs to be in separate square braces. See here, that needs to be in separate like this. No, it is okay. Next, and this after this and that. Hobbies. Okay. Oh, what hobbies? You cannot have a key to a key a value in the format of list. Okay, you cannot. You get that? So the reason is it says so here. You should have it should be in the form of some list. Does not match. Well, this is okay. So here this the thing is here the problem comes. Okay, you cannot have you cannot have this list as a value to the one key. You cannot, because you can have a single. This whole thing is a list. You are assigning the whole list to a key. You cannot do that. That's the problem here. Okay, fine. Next one. Where were you? Where were we? Acha. These are the few differences. I'll give you one simple example which will demonstrate this JSON file. So as I told you, we're gonna import JSON. Next, we're gonna have key value mapping. First, let me take one anything car. Okay. Um, this car will have. Okay. See now you look. Can you see this? Open and close basis, which means this is one dictionary now. Okay, so I'll have the model as key, and the model as some sedan. It's a sedan. Okay, next I'll have one more value, key and value, color, uh, say red as the color. Sorry, so these should be separated by commas because those are the separate elements. Year, for this I'm gonna have 2000. Sorry, 2000. Okay, this is a dictionary which in the form of which needs to be converted into JSON. This is nothing but a normal data, guys, normal dictionary. I want to convert this data into a so just now Asrar asked me for one example. You can have that example in another format, Asrar. Let's say buyers or the customer. Let's say we have a customer. Here I can have the list, but that should be in the form of uh, uh, yeah. Let's say string customer, first customer. His name is let's say um, John, the first name, and the next element again Peter. Uh, let's say Snow is his middle name. This is a simple dictionary. You see this? Open and close. So I want to save this in a file. I want to save this in a file with write permission. So I'll go with open. Now I'm gonna have the name of the file. Let's say I'm gonna go with some data dummy is the file name dot JSON. I want to save it in a JSON file with write permission, which means I don't have this name data underscore dummy in my directory, right? I don't have that file. If I open this in the format of with the access method as w, I can write this file. So let's say writing the file. So I'm gonna call this file, this JSON dot uh, dump. As I told you, to encode the method, we're gonna use encode the data into JSON format. For this, dump with two positional arguments. The first one, what is the dictionary name? Car. Second one, what is the file? So writing is the file. So let me run this. It says what? Partial initialized module has no attributes. Dumps. Is it taken dumps? Okay. Take dump. Okay. JSON has no attribute. Dump. It's supposed it should not give any kind of errors. It is fine. This is also fine. The open the W as writing. It's not JSON. So as J. So I don't have a JSON in my interpreter. We have JSON serialize. Check it. JSON serialize. JSON night. JSON to object. JSON dict. JSON boot. JSON FLN. JSON J. It is a these are the libraries. Okay. So to encode we need, yes, these are all libraries. JSON already is here. Yes, I'm gonna go with serialize. Okay. So closed installed. Okay. Okay. So here let me, if we know now, because we don't have JSON in this. So instead of JSON we have a serialize. JSON. JSON J we have, but we have JSON here. It's not getting run. No module name with JSON J. Why? But we have JSON here. It's not defined. So it should not be the actual particular import. So might be there is issue in importing this module to this interpreter. I'll solve it and I'll ping in the next video. But as of now, this is JSON, guys. This is how you can open. This is how you gonna use JSON methods. These techniques, serializing techniques, dumps, loads, and all. Serializing, yeah, I'm not sure because serializing has different technique. That's not gonna work here because that is not going to take two params. So that is the issue. Otherwise, this would have been run. Maybe mostly likely there is a importing issue we have here. Okay, and dumps is nothing but directly it will take the dictionary but not the file. Okay, um, very simple, guys. JSON is nothing but to store the data. We're gonna have one file format, that is JSON. Any doubts other than this? With other than this module, do you have any doubts? This one or this one? The first one. Which is the first one? This one? Okay. See. Okay. JSON is nothing but it's a combination of string, number, boolean, null, object, array. It is not mandatory to have all the formats at a time. You can have only string, you can have only number, or you can have string boolean or number null or object string, anything combination. Okay, that can have or six combination or it can have one combination itself. So that's how the JSON file formats. So here, how the JSON file looks like, in the sense, this is the basic example of JSON file, which will have a name and value pair format very similar to dictionary, hash table, key list, records, and object. These are the few examples very similar to this, which will have the name and value very similar to dictionaries. And these are all in the format of arrays, vectors, list, and sequence. So these are all will have square braces. These square braces are denoted for arrays, vectors, list, and sequence. Okay, under this we are going to have our elements or items in the format of key and pair value. If you combine all these, that will be known as JSON file. Any doubt? No, no, no. See, this is not going to be encoded in the script. These are going to saved in a file. That file will be saved with that file name .json format. For an example, see here this one example JSON. This is one of the example for .json file. Yes, to see. mm, so the data cannot be exchanged every character in the network. The mm, in the network, the data cannot be transmitted through letter by letter or string by string, right? We cannot do that because there will be a huge traffic. If you There will be lots of delay. What we'll do, instead of doing sending character by character or string by string, we're gonna send a whole document, sorry, whole collection of data by keeping it in a single file, that is .json file, and we will send this JSON file to the server, and in response we will get one JSON file that will be converted uh, in the client side. Okay, so that what is the main purpose of JSON file, in the sense, to enable the communication or transmission between client and server in terms of data exchange, to make it very simple. Any doubts? Others? Guys, any doubts? If you have no doubts, In tomorrow's session, we are going to have uh, the last topic in Python. Yeah, last topic in Python. Then I'll give you few exercises. You need to do exercises. After after this, we're gonna do some simple projects. We'll develop simple scripts. Yeah. So right now, there is only one topic left. That is inheritance and sorry, inheritance is done. Polymorphism and uh, encapsulation. Only two concepts. Those two concepts will be covered while I'm giving you the actual scripts. Okay. From tomorrow's session you're gonna have mock interviews and you need to share your screen. You have to show me how do you code the things, how do you crack the a story into a, how do you convert that user story or that user requirement into a code format. Okay. From tomorrow, yes, we have data connectivity and all. Once you learn how to write scripts in Python, then we'll go with working with the backend, means connecting database to the front end, that is to the Python. If you are writing some script in Python, let's say you are generating some data through your script, that data should be injected into the SQL, that is into the database, that needs to be stored in the database. For this you need one connectivity, right, from front end to back end. Yes, you need to, but before that you need to write the script. You should be very you should be much capable and much confident to write the scripts. Yeah, that's testing tool. We'll have another batch, not this batch. We have another batch. They are already in standby. Once they are getting into the frame, maybe hardly next week we'll start Selenium also. Okay. Yeah, that's it for. Yeah, I'll take care of that.